Just hear me out, guys and girls. Who's Your Daddy is Evolve done right. I know, right? Just so everybody's on the same page, Who's Your Daddy is a 1v1 multiplayer game that involves a watchful dad and an oddly adventurous baby. But you must be thinking to yourself, how does a game with a dad running around and trying to keep a baby from Oh, okay, I think you probably now see the comparison, but for those of you who don't get it yet, the dad would be the equivalent for the 4 hunters from Evolve. You're both running around trying to prevent the baby or monster from eating stuff or doing stuff that would cause the baby or monster to win the game. The baby and the monster both spend most of the time trying to get away from the dad or hunters. So now that we've gotten on the same page, that they're very similar games, let's look at how Who's Your Daddy set out to do the same thing that Evolve basically does, but does it better. First of all, Evolve has the problem of the incessant running around the map, which is very difficult for new players to understand, to figure out what they need to do. The humongous and daunting map makes it very difficult to find the monster, and making for a long period of time where the player has to interact with anything in a very meaningful way. Who's Your Daddy fixes this problem by having it be a 1v1 match. Therefore, there are more opportunities for the player to interact. This also helped by making the maps smaller. The lack of interactions throughout Evolve makes it very tedious. Secondly, there are more options for traversal. This is a staple of all games, and in this context, it's kind of related to the first point. You know, in Evolve, you had to run around a lot of the time. You do the same thing in Who's Your Daddy, but that space is so much smaller that they make it a little bit more interesting, keeping interactions, the other player up. There's nothing revolutionary about the movement system for Evolve or Who's Your Daddy, but there is a feeling of somebody chasing this baby or monster. The conflict makes it interesting, so the smaller amount of space probably would make it a bit better. Also, Who's Your Daddy allows for multiple ways to win. Asymmetric play is a term that the game industry likes to throw around to show that they have a lot of variety to play. These are terms used for both Who's Your Daddy and Evolve. Evolve does this through the character classes. Also, Who's Your Daddy allows for multiple ways to win. Asymmetric play, for those who do not know, is a gameplay perspective. Shows that no two players are going to play the game the same way. A lot of games do this through having different classes. So these are terms used for both Who's Your Daddy and Evolve. Evolve does this through its character classes. Evolve, though, has the problem that each time you replay each character, the gameplay style is the same. Who's Your Daddy is asymmetric because the dad and the baby play completely differently. The reason that Who's Your Daddy tackles asymmetry better is that 1, there are multiple ways that each player can win the game, or 2, having only 2 classes make it easier to find games. This causes more people to play the game. Only 2 people are needed to play Who's Your Daddy, when Evolve takes 5. The matches are short, and also there are more matches to go. Therefore, there are more matches going on. It kind of becomes a feedback loop, you know? If there's nobody playing your game, nobody's going to buy your game, nobody's going to play your game. Therefore, less and less people are going to be playing your game until you only have the die-hard fans. Okay, so the developer of Who's Your Daddy is making constant updates to bring Who's Your Daddy out of early access. The developer says that he's going to make multiple modes, a training mode, and a single player portion. This is all something that Evolve has but doesn't do very well, as the multiple modes feel very similar. For Who's Your Daddy to come out of early access and actually surpass Evolve in quality, it would have to balance the 2 sides fairly, have multiple modes and maps that feel very different, also have meaningful multiplayer. But for right now, things are looking great for Who's Your Daddy. So I hope you guys liked that video. Hopefully you're liking these more SAS type of videos. Please leave a comment below of the type of anything you want me to talk about or any gameplay you would like to see on the channel. Please do support the channel by not using ad blocker, and there's a support this channel button on the channel that would greatly help the channel grow and produce better content. So see you guys in another video. Bye.